It's understood. Boy, crazy, isn't it? Had to take a second to pause there. It's understood that Aston Villa believe in the current market, Morgan Rogers is worth 130 million. Villa's valuation also factors in the fact that Middlesbrough hold a 20% sell-on clause. Aims to be seen whether they could be negotiated down. I mean, the market's cooked in it, really and truly. The market is absolutely cooked. It's been cooked for a while. Again, whether Morgan Rogers or any player that's gone for whatever you deem an astronomical fee is worth it or not, that's the dynamic. If you have an asset, you're allowed to charge us whatever you want, especially when he's an England international, one of the better players in the Premier League, yada, yada, yada. That same spiel that could be said for many a player. No doubt, Adam Walton will be the next one. Maybe not this summer, but you get the point. It is what it is. You either find these guys before they end up where they end up currently in the asking prices of that, or you might not be on paying 130 million, but you probably pay 100 odd million. Now, Sammy Motbell has spoken, people. Smash the like button. Let me know you lot's thoughts. Allegedly, a lot of you would like BARCOLA as well as Morgan Rogers. We're the Premier League champions. I can't blame you for wanting us to have our cake and eat it. However, Sammy Motbell has released an article in which he said Arsenal consider BARCOLA as alternative to Rogers. Got a lot to consider here, people. Arsenal are expected to step up their interest in Paris Saint-Germain's Bradley McCullough this week after receiving encouragement that the forward could be available this summer. BBC Sport understands reps of Arsenal who have been tracking McCullough for some time intend to watch him again in France's World Cup last 32 match against Sweden on Tuesday night. England forward Morgan Rogers is a leading target, but recent reports have indicated Aston Villa value him at 130 million, which could prove a stumbling block. But Rogers is not the only attacker on Arsenal's radar, with BARCOLA also 23 viewed as a strong alternative option by the Gunners' recruitment staff. I mean, bring Bruno Gomares. I saw what he did for Martinelli. Martin Odegaard had a decent game, could have done better with some of his decision making. Listen, I don't know where you lot stand. Would you rather get BARCOLA or Morgan Rogers? In terms of what we need, it probably is BARCOLA. It's a bit like how I look at an Alex Scott versus a Bruno Gomares. All quality players. Would have all of them if I could and could be greedy. But if you're honest with yourselves, BARCOLA, we need a left winger. He can play up front. That's the left winger. With Morgan Rogers, and I'd prefer Morgan Rogers for what it's worth. With Morgan Rogers, if we was to name both our strongest 11 and what you think Mikel Arteta's strongest 11, BARCOLA's the left inside forward that we've been crying out for. Morgan Rogers can play there, obviously, and do quite well and thrive. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. Is he going to be the long-term left wing option? Probably not, per se. I would love him because he's versatile. I feel the same way about Alex Scott versus Bruno Gomares. We need a midfielder to play in that pivot, whether it's going to be in a partnership or competing with the likes of Lewis Skelly, Zubimendi, Declan Rice. We need four. And then obviously you've got the Ezes, you've got the Kai Havertzes, you've got the Mikel Marinos. On paper, whether he's here or not, at this moment in time, he's still at the club, and Ethan Wanyeri, people. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Would you prefer a BARCOLA or a Morgan Rogers? So yeah. Yan Diamande's projected move to PSG might have implications for BARCOLA's future. BARCOLA's is equally linked with Liverpool. Allegedly, he has a current deal which expires in the summer of 2028. Now, we've been led to believe 2027, so that they could hold on to BARCOLA on top of all the attacking talent they're looking to bring in. Morgan Rogers signed a new deal last year, and his Villa contract currently is until 2031. And you know what, if they're valuing you at 130 million, I know you just signed a new deal, but if I'm valued at 130 million and this team and that team want me, not that Aston Villa is an exciting project, they're back in the Champions League again for next season, but you got to pay me 130 million player wages, regardless of what we hear around wage to profit ratio, or whatever the new FFP acronym is regarding Aston Villa. If PSG are willing to listen to offers for BARCOLA this summer, then Arsenal will be among the clubs keen, with Liverpool also believed to be tracking him. Meanwhile, Arsenal also have a strong interest in Leeds goalkeeper Elia Millier. Kepa's better than him still. I've told you, I think Norgard and Kepa leave. And you know what? Listen, he's 26. I support him. I understand that, you can't really find a second choice keeper, but he was he went from first choice to second choice to third choice goalkeeper at Leeds. I still remember him at the under-21 World Cup with France, in which Haaland was actually there. A bit of a full circle moment. Very mistake-ridden. Decent shot stopper. Very good shot stopper in that regard. Got a lot of hype, but if Kepa don't give me confidence and go with the greatest of respect, Millier definitely can't. And if I'm honest with you, he still plays like if you had a talented academy grad at 18 or something, and they do well, but they're susceptible to mistakes and things. To be fair to him, I think the lad is one of the youngest goalkeepers to get 11 clean sheets in the Prem, but not convinced with your collecting from corners. Think you get a bit of a rush of blood, and I'm not even trying to be disrespectful to Kepa. I don't think the world of Kepa, but I think he's a significantly better keeper than you. But if you can get him on a free transfer, then it is what it is. Kepa, like Norgard, you won the Premier League. I just reckon the year before we just won the league, you were first names on the team sheet, arguably at Brentford and Bournemouth, respectively. So I think with a career being short, they're going to go and fancy themselves to get more first team football. So yeah, as a result of that, we're in the market for another goalie. Millier lost his place as number one at Leeds. He's out of contract this summer. And the 26-year-old is available on a free transfer. PSG feel the speculated market rate for BARCOLA, who is not for sale, is way off, and he should be valued at a much higher price than 116 million Manchester City will pay for Elliot Anderson. PSG would consider, if you believe reports out of France, selling BARCOLA with the pending arrivals of Yan Diomande and Aki Luche. David Ornstein has said PSG view BARCOLA is not for sale, regardless of the rivals / reluctant to sign a new deal. Fair play, people. Anyone having Antonio Nusa? He scored a screamer against Ivory Coast. What a game that was. Heartbreak for Ivory Coast. Has been linked with us before. Leipzig maybe, drive a hard bargain in similar vein to they did when we tried to get Sesko. It's like respectfully to me, it's like a poor man's Neymar, isn't it? I must admit, watching the game, yeah, a bit reactionary. I like the goal. I like how you dribbling, like how you play on your right hand side. Oscar Bob was decent as well. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, we've been linked with Millier as discussed. You would have seen earlier today that Bournemouth have rejected an inquiry from Arsenal for Alex Scott. Bournemouth have communicated their intention to keep Scott and are keen to agree an extension to his current contract, which has 2 years to run, people. He was very unfortunate not to make the England squad. Brazil versus Norway in the World Cup. Gabriel Magalhaes versus Haaland, they meet again. So yeah, long story short, BARCOLA, we're apparently going to watch him in the game in a few hours, really, with France and Sweden. Sky Sports are saying Alex Scott now appears to be a two-horse race between Manchester United and Arsenal. However, Bournemouth still do not want to sell him and would rather he sign a new deal. I reckon he'd be a good signing under Michael Carrick. And there's rumours Mason Mount might move on. Man United, as much as people will banter them, they didn't do what they've been doing and being overpriced. You'd see Liverpool, it's not Liverpool, apologies. Tottenham want to spend 85 million on Fernandes, which is a decent player. And apparently they still want Tonali, people. Romano said that Bournemouth insist on having no plans of departing. Arsenal called as well as many other clubs, but Bournemouth are still pushing for that new deal. Gomares is having a fantastic World Cup campaign, and he would be fantastic at our club. Big up Martin Odegaard. I think he's assisted in like 3 games in a row in the World Cup. Hand of Arsenal said, and I think it's interesting in that I wouldn't be against defensive reinforcements. I'd like a Timber Tomiyasu guy that can play across the whole back three, or if you could get a centre back that could play right back. But if you were to discuss Arsenal's transfer hopes, everybody expects a left winger. You probably want another centre mid. Striker, I think, gets parked off the next summer. Could make a case of a right back. Could make a case of a left back. Centre half, I didn't think would be the case. But apparently Arsenal are monitoring William Saliba's condition closely. Let's see how he feels post-World Cup. It's interesting because I know Arsenal also made checks on numerous centre-backs, including Lecaux, Konza, and others. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what we do. Arsenal, City, and Manchester United, as well as Bayern Munich, are all still interested in PSG target Boadi. I mentioned PSG because apparently they're seen as the front runners. Carla, I do want us to make some signings now, but we're gonna have to stay patient, man.